Hello and willkommen, welcome to Aid and Eyewitness. Now, a constant theme on the channel is the conflict between modern architecture and traditional architecture. Here on Abercrombie Square, Liverpool University. And behind me is some very nice red brick or brown brick traditional architecture. Now, this video continues from my previous Liverpool video, where I wanted to travel around the city, picking out interesting examples of what I think are really good architecture, good examples of architecture. But I ran out of time, and that was over on the Wirral next to Miller's Quay. For this video, I picked out four, just to limit things down a bit, to make it more manageable. I've picked out four examples of modern architecture which I think are really good. And also we're going to take a look at that YouTuber from the Netherlands and some more about the benefit of the traditional architecture and reviving traditional architectural styles. And then maybe we can decide, so which is better, traditional architecture or modern architecture? Hello and welcome.
Okay, that was my original introduction to this video. We don't need that now, so let's get straight on with my voiceover. Behind me, we can see Miller's Quay with its multicoloured blocks, four of them with sloping roofs: red, dark grey, yellow, blue, light grey, and again red. It was designed by Howells Architects, construction financed by Pension Insurance Corporation, developer Peel Waters, construction group Graham, with support from Wirral Council and Homes England. Okay, we've got the corporate bit out of the way, so what do I think of it? I think it's great. It looks like a Lego brick construction, and that's a compliment. As I've mentioned, I loved to play with Lego as a child. As a 6-year-old, I would have loved to have built this. In some ways, I still think like a 6-year-old, but that's another story. Anyway, I'm not the only one who likes it. It won the Completed Scheme Award at the 2025 Housing Design Awards. There are plenty of hyperbolic descriptions in the media. I don't need to repeat them here. The architects say they wanted to create a picture postcard look, and I think it does look like that. It reminds me, maybe, of houses in Amsterdam reflected in the canal. Here, the water is part of a former dock, East Float, and the 6 buildings stand on a former dockside once occupied by flour mills, hence the name Miller's Quay. The buildings are designed to look industrial, and a feature of the design is the corrugation. That's the process of putting ridges and grooves into sheet metal. I've been to parts of the world where people live in shanty towns under bits of corrugated metal, but here they've turned this lowly material into a striking design feature. The architects decided to set the corrugation at 45mm, so all the doors and window widths, walls and columns are in a 45mm module. I don't quite understand that, but I think I get the principle. You can find out more on the Howells website. It's all nicely explained by architect Alan McCartney, link below. It's interesting to see the visualizations and the finished product. Looking back to the earlier stages of construction, we can see how at first they looked like the framework of some box-like buildings, but then the roof sections and cladding started to appear. Looking at the architect's visualizations, we could get a very good idea of what it was going to look like. In fact, it looks exactly like them. They didn't unexpectedly change the colour, as I've seen on some other projects. They look industrial, but they're also homely with their big windows and balconies. What's striking is that these buildings have sprouted out of the ground on a former industrial dockland site, once deserted and off the beaten track. And still today there are very few facilities around, though a supermarket is to be built on the corner of Dock Road and Duke Street, and no doubt other facilities will follow. As far as public transport is concerned, it's about a 20-minute walk down to the nearest station, Birkenhead Park. But it seems like many of the residents of these buildings would probably just use their electric vehicles, for which there are facilities in the parking areas. There are 500 apartments, 250 of them are 1-bedroom, 250 2-bedroomed, and they are all for rent. So what type of people would come and live in this place? Well, the Miller's Quay publicity states that the development is, and I quote, "for optimists, futurists, adventurers, peace lovers, and busy bodies." That doesn't sound like the profile of your typical grumpy commenter on the new construction pages in local media, but I don't think they're the target group. I reckon you have to have a pioneer spirit to come and live in a place like this. This area is still in the early stages of its transformation from derelict, deserted dockland into district of desirable dwellings. That's not to say it's a bad place to live. Actually, I like post-industrial areas like Salford Quays, for instance. But the lack of facilities and public transport links at the moment might be a problem for some people. When you look at the map in the Miller's Quay brochure, you can see that there are plenty of attractions not too far away, whether you head north into New Brighton, south into Birkenhead, west into the Wilds of Wirral, or east across the Mersey into Liverpool. What about rent? Looking on the rightmove.co.uk site, I found a 2-bedroom apartment for £895 per calendar month. Keep in mind that many things are included: gym, 24-hour on-site team, complimentary Wi-Fi, co-working lounge. Parking is available at an additional fee, and there's a no deposit option available. Looking further at the advert, I can see this rent is available only to key workers who have to meet certain criteria. So these are among the 100 apartments in the development classed as affordable. There's also a 1-bedroom apartment for £695 per month, again for key workers who meet the eligibility criteria. They are promoting a 20% discount for key workers. Are these rents affordable? Well, as I always say, it depends on the individual. For some people used to London rents, this would be very cheap. But for others living not too far away from here, it would probably be unaffordable. Aesthetically, I really do like them. I love the colours. I love the industrial aesthetic. It looks a bit like a row of old warehouses that have been turned into apartments. That's what the architects wanted. It suits the area. A twee housing estate of replica 1920s semi-detached houses would, I think, look out of place here. Many of the apartments have balconies. I understand they've designed them so that all have a view over water, and you can see the Liverpool skyline not too far away. So, in my humble opinion, I think this is a very good development. It looks great. I won't be living here, but there are plenty of people who have moved in already, and I assume they are happy with their choice. It also has a very good BREEAM environmental rating, aiming for excellent, I understand, so hopefully low heating costs. So that's it, the first project. In my opinion, a good piece of contemporary architecture. I wonder what the Dutch YouTuber Mr. Aesthetic City would say. I don't think he'd like it. Later, we'll have a quick look at the village in the Flemish-speaking part of Belgium, which he's featured in his recent video. That's Abercrombie Square, a prime example of early 19th century urban planning. Georgian-style facades overlooking a wide square with lawns and a gazebo in the middle. And there's Liverpool University Sports Centre, designed by renowned post-war architect Dennis Lasden, opened 1966. But our next building is just down Bedford Street North on the right. In fact, it's not finished yet, though it was first announced several years ago. It's the extension to the Liverpool University School of Architecture. It was designed by award-winning architects O'Donnell and Toomey, based in Dublin. They won the competition to design it. You would have thought that maybe the Department of Architecture would have designed it in-house, but I suppose it's like adding a conservatory to your home. You'd get someone else to do it. However, the construction is being carried out in-house by ULCCOSP, or the University of Liverpool Construction Company Special Projects Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of the University of Liverpool, founded 2013. We can see the building, opening spring 2026, taking shape behind the fence. It's already well advanced. Developing the campus of the future, we are developing a state-of-the-art School of Architecture, including digital suites, collaborative workspaces, design studios, and an exhibition space, opening spring 2026. I like it when the information is there on the boards, saves me having to research it. And another board proudly states, "We are global leaders in architectural history and heritage design." I'm not so boastful. So what about this design? Well, first of all, it's not a box. It has many jagged angles, different use of materials, a variety of window designs. The interior shows wide open workspaces under elaborate ceiling and roof structures, strong diagonals with intersecting lines and zigzag patterns. The visualizations have an almost sepia cast to them, not sure quite why that is. Nevertheless, commenters on one local media page, Place Northwest, trashed the design as boring, mediocre, bland, uninspiring, ugly. Another complained the council was spending millions on a university building while neglecting a local primary school. Of course, it's not the council paying for this building, it's Liverpool University. The council have had to cope with cuts from central government. The cost is given at £23 million, and it should have been completed this year. As part of the project, there will also be changes to the architecture department's Leverhulme building overlooking Abercrombie Square. So what do I think of it? Well, from the plans it looks good, but I can only give the final verdict when it's completed. If possible, I'd like to see it on the inside, and maybe get some opinions of those who work and study there. Universities are often at the forefront of architectural innovation. Though I'm not sure about this one. It's the Chadwick Building, designed by Sir Basil Spence, and is around 60 years old. I suppose it was at the forefront of architectural innovation at that time. I read it was to be demolished, but I think it could be refurbished. It's not one of my selected buildings, although I noticed that the Materials Innovation Factory just opposite looks quite impressive. But the next one that I've picked out is just around the corner. It's the Yoko Ono Lennon Centre, home of the Tung Auditorium. Tung, is that right? I think so. I noticed it when it was under construction with its elegant curved brick facade, not to mention its name, referencing Liverpool, Hong Kong and Japan. It's a teaching and performance centre and home of lunchtime concerts. It was opened by Sean Lennon in March 2022. The Tung Auditorium was financed in part by the Tung Foundation, set up by the brothers Tung Chi-Hwa and Tung Chi-Chen, known respectively as CH and CC. Prominent alumni of the University of Liverpool, must be from a few decades ago, I think. The foundation is named after their father. The auditorium is very impressive. The acoustics seemed good to me. A great venue. I saw Mick Head and the Red Elastic Band here. No photography was allowed. What I really like is the illuminated sign on the rear wall. A touch of class. And I also like the multicolour illumination along the side. What I want to show here is that there are plenty of excellent modern buildings around, and they're not all made out of concrete, and they're not all boxes. The exterior brickwork on this building, I think, is particularly impressive. But now let's quickly fly over to Belgium, and again I'm going to reference a video from the YouTube channel The Aesthetic City by a creator from the Netherlands. I can't seem to find his name. Here he showcases Heulebrug near Knokke Heist, right next to Zeebrugge in the Flemish region of Belgium. It looks hundreds of years old, but it was only built in recent years, following a traditional layout and a style of architecture that's in keeping with the local Flemish traditions, emphatically not in the, he says, soulless modern style. What do I think of it? I think it's great. I could live here. The architecture is attractive, it's walkable, and has a nice feel. The only thing is, it's disorientating. It plays tricks with your sense of time. These could be hundreds of years old, but actually, the buildings are new. It's in a style of yesteryear, using the technology of today, and people seem to like it. I'd like to see more architecture like this. The Aesthetic City YouTube channel is on a campaign to encourage people to build like this. I think it's particularly aimed at urban planners and architects around the world. But there's another residential district, 50 miles or 80 kilometres to the east of here in the Flemish region. It's the Nieuwe Zuid district in Antwerp. I visited last year. This is a showcase of modern architecture and urban development. Apartments in taller towers designed to be a vertical village with balconies, open spaces between them in a minimalist style, all right next to a park with a pond that reflects the buildings. I like it and find it quite inspiring. The thing is, I appreciate both traditional and modern, but let's not forget, this style is also a recreation of the past. A recreation of a modernist view that first appeared around a century ago. Mr. Aesthetic City campaigns against this style. He really doesn't like it. or the architects that created it. He often takes a swipe at them. He thinks it's had its day. But I'm all for a variety of concepts. I'd miss the modern styles, the high-level views, the futuristic vision. If everywhere looked traditional like Hurlebruch, it wouldn't be special anymore. No culture wars, please. Let's have a variety of styles, as long as they're good. Now we are in the town of Prescott, and this is our first site of our final building, walking from the main road. No premature judgments, please. This is the rear facade. And now the corner. Yeah, it's getting better. And now the side. And here we are at the main entrance of the award-winning Shakespeare North Playhouse, a unique theatre, cultural centre and community facility. Next to it is Prescott Bus Station, very convenient. It was built on a car park, and the story of its emergence is very interesting. The exterior has distinctive features, angles and building materials, mixing brick, glass and concrete. Let's walk inside, and standing by the inner wall, we can see right up to the roof. And what's this? It's the Sir Ken Dodd Performance Garden. He acted in Shakespeare plays and was a man of letters. I saw his show twice. Here there are open-air performances. On the steps there are quotes from the Bard and from Doddy. There's the carefully designed concrete structure that contains something quite remarkable inside. The concrete was cast with the imprint of wood, recalling medieval theatres. All over the building there are artworks made by local people and artists. Through the windows, the parish church recalls a time long ago when Prescott was more important than Liverpool. I love the cool modern style with window views on one side, and on the other we can look down to the ground floor and up to the roof. But let's go into the core of the facility. Inside is a wonder of medieval architecture, a replica of a theatre from Shakespeare's time. It completes the UK's Shakespearean triangle: London, Stratford-upon-Avon, Prescott. It's made out of a special type of hardwood that expands and bends, though it should eventually shrink again. I learned this on the excellent guided tour. It's a remarkable design, and the smell of fresh wood hits you as you enter. No seats, just benches, as in Shakespeare's time. You'll learn a lot of bizarre facts on the guided tour, like how people just wandered in and out or sat on the edge of the stage to be seen. It's a theatre in the round, like the Royal Exchange in Manchester, but it can be converted into Franz Senai layout. That's the more conventional style with a backdrop. The design is hundreds of years old, but the theatre technology is 21st century. Shakespeare North Playhouse was opened in 2022 and has won awards including Theatre Building of the Year at the Stage Awards 2023 and Northwest Building of the Year 2024. The project architect was Dr. Nicholas Helm, working with Helm Architecture and Austin Smith Lord. It was built by Salford-based construction company Kier. I really admire this building, particularly because it is a powerful combination of contemporary and ancient. It's a modern building that's brimming with soul and character. I asked the tour guide what she thought of it, and she said it's the friendliest building in Prescott. For me, it's proof that modern architectural styles can be successful if they're done right. They've created a priceless asset here, and its story is remarkable. Too detailed to recount here, so I recommend you come and visit. See a play or concert, or come on the guided tour. So that's all from this update of Aid and Eyewitness. As ever, quite a lot of time, effort, research and expense went into it, so you can help me out by buying me a coffee and maybe think about coming on one of my photo walks in Manchester and Liverpool. And as I like to say, in my adopted alternative native language, the language I also teach to students online, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und auf Wiedersehen in der Liverpool City Region.